Hello and welcome into the SorareData Football Strategy Show. I'm Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare. Joined again, he's back. Sean Newsham, PSU fans too, who actually was on other content last week, but he's back on SorareData. Sean, what's up? Welcome back.
When I'm suspended here, I got to find my way elsewhere. Sorry, the baby's a little sick. We can blame it's Haber for that one. So you might hear him in the background going off a little bit. Yeah, I left the house, Laird, and I was one of the only people that felt fine after doing so. So I don't know. I feel like it's just a karma thing for other people to make fun of me.
Nobody's going to stop. So, but glad you're healthy and ready to kick in. So, Sean and I were talking yesterday. So we were trying to figure out the time of the show. Obviously, this time has been a little different than what we've been doing, but it's actually back to our old time. But you were like, we really should talk about how important thresholds are. And I'm like, man, you just are completely out of touch with the regular man, Sorare man, who has been chasing thresholds for months now, Sean. But why do you think they're so important now?
Well, because unfortunately, card values are just really, really poor right now. And the only thing that I think really is relevant right now is getting the threshold in a lot of the different areas. So I actually think like priorities have changed pretty drastically to what I would advise people to do. Would you agree? Like, would you recommend stuff differently than you would have previously? Because I definitely would have different recommendations right now.
It depends how far back you go previously. Like this, I've been saying that threshold for most players is more important than anything else for like a few months now. And I think the tricky part that the tricky part now is that previously the goal was to get cards good enough for to compete for thresholds, win the thresholds that will eventually help you buy better cards to compete in regular competitions. And the problem that we have now is that the threshold certainly in rare and super rare, it may be limited, to be honest, is the cards that you're getting to like you're saving up money to get the better cards to then win cards that are actually worth less than the threshold. And so now we're in a position where we're accumulating some balance to buy cards to help us with the threshold so that we can win more money to buy more threshold cards. And I don't think that's what people want to do.
Yeah, it's pretty depressing, honestly. Like it really is, right? Like it's sad, but like I will be honest right now. If you are playing Sorare, the first thing you should do right now, if you're playing Sorare, is get the limited threshold. Agreed?
Yeah.
Yeah. Second would be play the rare threshold. Would you agree? Third would be play the super rare threshold.
I think the jump from the limited to rare threshold is much smaller than the jump to super rare.
Yes.
But I think right now, I think the rare threshold is the best, like by far the best ROI on the platform.
Yes. Well, actually, yes. It could be the super rare threshold, honestly.
I think the buy-in is still a little high.
It is. I'm talking about the pure ROI. Actually, no, the best ROI is probably the unique threshold. But the buy-in is actually the best ROI is probably super rare threshold because the jump probably doesn't warrant it. But the best ROI is probably super rare threshold. But I agree the jump is quite high. Like if you have,
I actually still think it's not like you can. I think you can start getting positive on. So maybe it's not so much ROI than like time. I don't even know what the word I'm looking for is, like time of making your money back, like however long it takes to like make your investment back through the rare threshold, I think will take less time than the super rare one.
I actually think it's probably super rare. Honestly,
it might be. I think yeah, maybe. I don't know. I haven't like really gone into it. It just seems like the buy-in, the reasonable buy-in price versus the value of the threshold is lower in rare than it is in super rare.
Yeah, I mean, it is, but the thing is so it's a 5x jump from, you get 5x more on your return from the super rare versus the rare, right? It's 5x, not 4x, right?
It's no 4x.
Is it 200 or 250?
200.
Okay, so 4x, it's probably rare. It's probably pretty close though.
It might be. It all depends kind of what, like, it's both, it's both. There are going to be some values in rare and there are going to be some values in super rare that you can get. It's just I think the card acquisition for super rare is so much harder than it is for rare. Like there's always a rare you can buy, and super rare, it's like if there are none on the market and they're only like 12 of the goalie that you want or whatever, it's just harder. And so that's how I like think of it in terms of time. Like it actually might take more time to accumulate the super rares you want, whereas the rares are generally like available.
Yeah, I mean, rare threshold team you could probably build for $500 now, like legit.
Sean,
not even.
It might be like half that.
Might be like 300. Oh, you still do the goalie, so I don't know what the cheapest goalie is right now. But it's probably like $100. Well, I'm talking about like the cheapest goalie that isn't like a 39-year-old dumpster fire. Germ said easily for 300.
Yeah, I mean, why are we throwing out 39-year-old dumpster fires?
We're not throwing them out.
Sorare says you can get 120 full team in Asia.
If Asia was still going right now, yeah, 100%. Asia would be like, you could do Asia for really cheap. Because like I've seen the goalie price in Asia. I won Bake as a tier 0 rare this week. It's not even worth 0.1 ETH.
In Asia?
In Asia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in Asia. It's not even worth 0.1. It's worth like 0.0.
And he's U23.
He's one of the only ones left because a lot of people, like Osako ages out mid-season and stuff. But yeah, it's just like, I mean, it's bleak right now in terms of pricing. Like you can just do stuff for super cheap. So like I don't even care about what, like, I mean, I'm not going to look super hard, I guess, but like Eloy Room is 152, and there's got to be people cheaper than
dollars.
Yeah, $150.
Yeah, like that makes me think you could do it for like 200.
Yeah,
like if he's 150, the outfield players are easy. Like there are so many cards on the platform that you can get it pretty cheaply.
Yeah, I was actually talking to Investor Dur asked what is the cheapest league to buy rares from. Honestly, any of them at this point. It's still obviously not Champ Europe, but you can. Like
it just depends where. I mean, when you want to play. Like obviously you can't buy Asia and America cards now if you want to play now.
Yeah,
you can go Liga MX and wait a month.
Yeah,
and
like, yeah, there's just so many guys that are out there that are like cheap. Yeah, Johannes, I'm not saying buy Room. I was just using Room as a reasonable option. But like you can buy, like I was talking to Keith yesterday, and Kaneko's been really good for Zagreb. Have you seen what he's done recently?
I did. Yes.
Yeah. Yes, so like yesterday, he's gone up because I told Keith this yesterday, but like literally before yesterday, he was like $60.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a dude that has an L15 of 58. He's got an L5 of 79. His age is pretty good. Like he's not old.
I mean, it's like two weeks that he's been like 75 and above.
No, 4 of the last 5. Well, he's averaging Are you talking about dollars?
Dollars.
Oh,
yeah,
I thought you were talking about score. I'm like, oh, score's been way better than that. But yeah, like I mean, yesterday he jumped up to like $100 or $90. But like this is a dude who's 26. Like you can buy a super rare for 0.25 off the market. Off the market, Laird. A guy that's averaging an L15 of 58 on a dominant team who's like, I mean, he's in the even usage spot basically. I mean, what are we playing for here at this point right now?
Anyone who watches Looking Up with Laird is well familiar with Kaneko.
Well, there you go. See, I don't watch it, Laird. See?
I know. I'm just saying.
Look at that. Finding new things. Yeah, but anyway, like, yeah, you literally could buy off the market right now his super rare for 0.25. Like, dude's smashing his brains out. He's just been unbelievable. So anyways, like, yeah, rare threshold I think you can get for $300, $400, give or take. Like, I'm not saying buy Kaneko. I'm just saying, like, you can legit get like an 8-man team in rare for like $300. If the threshold's paying back $50 every week you hit it, you could realistically pay that shit off in 2 months. Not even like a month.
Do you have any concern that they're like, oh, we're giving out too much money and they lower it?
I mean, if they do that, like,
it seems like that would be so bad to do that. But
I mean, if they do that, like, what's the point of the platform at that time?
Oh,
unless they moved it to money elsewhere. Like, if they gave,
no, I don't. I think that's.
I think it's bad. I'm not saying I would do it, but at least like if they completely just like we're taking this away.
I think if they said that we are moving it, that's just as detrimental.
It's not just as detrimental, but it would probably act just as detrimental. Like it would, it would be.
I think that's very.
So realistically, Laird, no, I don't think they can remove it anytime. I mean, it doesn't even matter. It takes you a month and a half to get it back. Like even if they remove it, you paid it off anyways.
Yeah.
Like, and Super Earth, I think you can make a Super Earth threshold team for like probably. Yeah, the goalie's still expensive. You are right. The ROI is better in the rares.
Yeah, the goalie realistically is like half an ETH.
Not, you can find cheaper, but like, yeah, in order to make a Super Earth threshold team, you probably have to spend an ETH. Which is wild because we were talking about that being a rare threshold team like not that long ago.
Yeah. But I mean, the difficulty with super rare is, and really any, like we would say it's really difficult if you just have one goalie. And so now if you're looking at 2 half an ETH goalies, like you're an ETH down with one position filled.
Yeah. Which is the difficulty. Daniel Cooper just asked, what are cheap limited goalies at the moment? I mean, just using Eloy Room as an example again, Eloy Room's is $8, $8.50.
Wow.
So like you can make a limited threshold team for probably $30.
Gosh.
Like it's just really it's the most important thing because like card prices are just not worth it. And like, I mean, let's go look at last week's rewards.
So I was going to I had that up because this comment from Sorare Josh said it's way easier to win $200 super rare threshold than a $200 rare, which is essentially a low tier 1, high tier 2 at the moment. So this is the prize pool from last week's. I guess this is midweek. So maybe let me go last weekend. And I just went to All-Star Rare Plus, which tends to have better rewards in it.
Yeah, I mean, it'll at least find out like what you realistically need.
Come on.
Going very.
But yeah, so the super rare threshold now is 0.0. It's just under 0.09.
It's like 0.09, yeah.
So it's around there.
But
and so like we're in the middle of tier 2 here where we get to that range.
Yeah. You have to go 30th in All-Star Rare Plus to get effectively a super rare threshold.
Right.
Like
it's so the problem is that you win your super rare threshold. And the idea is you do that to make lineups that help you finish 30th in All-Star Rare Plus.
Correct.
But you're better off just playing the threshold.
Well, I guess you do get some ETH for 30th probably too. But like you probably don't for 45th.
Right. But unless you play Challenger. And then it's like, well,
no, I mean, like Challenger Rare Pro, like, I mean, you literally got to get top 15.
I mean, the last tier 1 is 0.108.
Yeah, I mean, just looking like Paintsel is 0.085. Paintsel's like really good, right? Like Paintsel's like a really good card. Like that's a pretty good card, and it's 0.08. Like
Mike Basson said, ideally, I want to use my rare threshold winnings to buy super rares to enter 240 super rare.
I agree with that.
It's funny because it's almost the progression we've asked for. Like rare thresholds are giving you a path to buy into super rare threshold, a super rare 240. And the only reason that's actually the case is because prices are so low.
Yeah, but like here's
Germ said that before. Winning thresholds to climb the scarcity ladder and build depth there, then sell rewards to get the pieces I actually want.
Here's the issue though, that is currently bothering me. What are you doing after that?
unique threshold.
No, that's fair. But like, all right, after that, what are you doing? Like,
yeah.
what's the point right now? I mean, this is probably why we've seen it. Like, what is the point right now in going and buying an Erling Haaland rare?
So that you can try to win an Erling Haaland rare.
But like, what's the point of that? Like, why?
Because it's fun, Sean. It's fun to win an Erling Haaland.
Was fun.
No, I think people still find that fun. It's the other guy. It's the guys that people don't know that is not fun.
It's like if you don't come like top 5, it's like, all right, that's pretty not great. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not great right now. But like, that's why I said that's why I want to talk about the threshold. I think going after the threshold is very viable. I think going after threshold makes a lot of sense for pretty much everyone because they're it's the most stable thing where you're not actually really playing against anyone either. You're just hitting a number. And I'm not saying you necessarily are using your best card. Keith and I had a discussion about it. Keith was arguing for like a half an hour. And I knew it was one of those things where like I knew what Keith's point was. He was just saying it so horrendously. I'm like, you're being a moron. And then he would keep coming back with it. Basically, what he was trying to say is he's like, you need to get the threshold. Like the threshold is like the number one thing you should prioritize getting. But like the way he was advertising at the beginning was like, you play your best cards and get the threshold. Like, well, you don't really play your best cards. You play your best value cards based on the threshold number, and then you play other stuff around that. And he's like, yeah, you play your best cards. I'm like, no, you don't play your best cards. Like, you're not typically going to be running like Mbappe in there, but you're running like, I mean, I know he got 0 this weekend or net 2 or whatever he got, but like, if you knew Hobie Verhulst was starting and he has an L15 of 0, that's a good card to play in there because then you play like some 60 guys around him or whatever to get the threshold pretty simply. But like, you might not have used those guys in the past there, but now it makes way more sense to use those type of guys there because just getting the threshold is pretty important.
So I think the angle that Keith was trying to come from is that most people should play their best cards in 240. Their best cards are not the best cards on the platform.
Correct. Yes, but like again, it's just he's phrasing it incorrectly, probably. I know what his intentions were. His intentions are like, you need to get the threshold. That is basically what he's saying. Like, whatever you have to do to get the threshold, you get the threshold. So Connor said that generally his problem is he has a 1 ETH gallery on a 3.5 or 1 ETH balance on a 3.5 gallery. I'm making a rare Fulham collection for fun, but I don't want to compete in non-capped competitions. If you're doing anything for fun, it doesn't matter. Just do it for fun, right? Like if you're getting a Fulham stack for fun and that's enjoyable for you, just do it. Like, and be excited about it. If you're trying to do stuff for ROI at this perspective, the ROI is 100% at this point, like threshold. And that's just kind of what happens. So it's just a very, very difficult thing where there's just like all the regionals and all the all-star competitions and everything else is just really devalued right now. Like it's just very like it just doesn't really make sense to like play like all or Challenger Rare. Like Challenger Rare is just like you get 5th and you get like $50, right? Which is like, it's another thing. It's something I've discussed before. If I came onto the platform today and these were the levels we were playing at, it would be fine, right? Like you'd be excited. You'd be like excited about winning stuff. The issue is that we were on the platform when you're legit playing for, you finish 50th, you get a card worth $1,500. Now you finish first, you do not get a card worth $1,500. And it makes it a little bit more lacking excitement, I guess is the word I'd say. But Keith was talking to me. He's like, the issue is that going for the threshold isn't fun. Like going out there trying to rip off 290 points just isn't fun.
So I'm going like back and forth on that. And I think part of it is because I happen to have had like a perfect outcome from a 240 lineup, including like the reward luck that I was able to win a Bruno Fernandes in cap 240. And people have talked about how they should remove cards from cap 240 and just have that be threshold. And part of me thinks the opposite, that it's like, what if we put the best rewards in there and just made that the game? Like, if so many people are playing the game this way, why are we not putting the best rewards there?
No. All right. Better idea. What if instead of just having the threshold there, you have it everywhere, except for the threshold is more difficult to achieve? So less people get it, but it's like every competition you can win cash.
So that's what Wales would think.
No, but I'm saying like
you're benefiting way fewer people that way.
Not necessarily. Not if someone wants to play Challenger Rare and that's like where they want to focus on.
But they can play Challenger cards in 240. Like I don't see the benefit. I don't see how that benefits more people.
Yeah. So Scosmo brought. I want to touch on this too, because this has been brought up by we've seen this before. Scosmo said, scrap all card rewards, only cash rewards everywhere. We've heard this before.
I mean, Surface has said that for years.
Will never happen. If it does, platform's probably done, because it'll take like 3 weeks of them just not giving out too much money, and it'll just be done, because people will just take the money off and not reinvest it. The reason they give out card rewards is because if the platform is struggling, which it is, and the card rewards are given out, they're not losing anything. They're just giving out cards. So they're if you end up turning it into like every week they're giving out like $2 million and then nobody's buying shit off of the primary market, the site's done in like 2 days. If you give out what is like a lot of cards, then people are winning stuff. If the card value's down, then that's so be it, but it's not like detrimental to the platform where they're giving off 35K in rewards. Like, what are they giving out right now? What's the weekly payout in non-Premier League? Like, is it like 50 grand?
I don't even know. I just look at, actually, I guess, is that winter competition one separate? Like, just going right now for the midweek, it says 9,100 cards and 100K in cash.
But how much of that is on the Premier League stuff?
I don't know if it counts, because it, like, the winter competition, I think, is separate. So I don't know. Is the answer. Well, there's no Premier League this midweek, so this 100K is
okay. So they give out,
I assume, does not include the thresholds.
So they give out 100K a week. Oh, that's, well,
because they don't know what the thresholds are yet.
So they give out like 100K plus a week. They probably give out like 250K a week, non-game week, but like a week. So like, they can't just give out like $5 million a week. If they give out $5 million a week, it's like the platform's going to be probably done. Or it could take off, but they're just like, they can't take that risk. Like, you need a long runway to even try something like that, because you need to be able to like withstand the beginning where there's just not going to be that much of an uptick.
Correct.
Which is something they're just not going to do. But so yeah, it's a difficult thing right now.
I think the other, like, the part of the thing that they miss out on with why people chase thresholds is because they ends up allowing them to buy cards they actually want.
Correct.
Instead of like whatever the rewards they give it. Like, I've said this before, so few people win rewards they actually want.
Well,
and that's not to say cards that they win and they're like, oh, this card's really good, and keep it. But if you go in and you're like, I need a card like this, a challenger midfielder who scores really well, and you get the 37-year-old K-League guy.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
It's difficult. I also think they completely butchered the DNPs back into the prize pools, which isn't shocking.
I was going to say it's borderline infuriating, but it's like legitimately infuriating, because exactly the problem that was foreseen occurred.
Yeah, exactly what you figured that was going to happen due to them being not great at it happened. And you're just like,
And what
it's so
bothers me,
bad though. Like, I'm just like, whatever. I don't even care.
what bothers me the most about it is the use of total outliers to justify it. They're like, no, no,
Yeah.
no. Remember when Verts was hurt? You would have loved to win him.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, that is true. And when you talked about DNP rewards being added in the prize pool, and you were like, wouldn't you like to win Florian Verts? And everyone was like, yes, I would. And then it turns out we're actually winning the guy who announced his retirement 6 months ago.
Correct.
And you're just like, as a tier 2, because the last one that sold a year ago has the same value as a Florian Verts, and you're just like, no, you're fine. This is what you wanted. It's like,
yeah, like you want to win. You want to win a guy that like is hurt. So like, let's say Wirtz's value is 1 ETH. I know it's not anymore. I'm just gonna use this. Let's say Wirtz value is 1 ETH, and he tears ACL. His value went down to like 0.6. I want to win him at a 0.6 valuation where he is currently at. I don't want to win him at the 1 ETH valuation, which is where he is. The issue with the DNP rewards is like DNP. Yeah, Andy Black hits it on the head. Nobody is complaining you added DNP rewards to the pool. Nobody, literally 0 people ever are complaining about it. Everyone's bitching because you fucked up the valuations. Like, I literally was looking at some of the tiers, and it's like, dude, they have. And I'm not saying I don't want to get like a U23 goalie, but like, I won a tier 3 unique a couple game weeks ago, and there was a dude at the top of the tier 3 that was like, it's like AZ Alkmaar's 4th goalie. Like, he didn't even start for young AZ.
yeah.
And he was literally like at the top of tier 3 ahead of like people. The dude's never even sniffed a game. Never even sniffed a game. And he's like at the top of tier 2 or tier 3 for uniques. Like, what? Why am I winning this card?
I assume it's because he had 3 rare cards sold 8 months ago.
Probably.
And like that was it. And so, although they wouldn't use rare cards to value uniques, who knows? But like, yeah, I think the valuations are, and that's what we said ahead of time when they were like, we're going to do DNPs. And everyone was like, okay, just make sure the valuations are right.
Correct.
And I think the problem is that technically the valuations are right, but it's because they ignore the total lack of liquidity with a lot of these cards of, yes, the last one of these cards sold for 0.05.
Correct.
But it's been 1 in 9 months.
Yeah.
And you're ignoring the 200 expired listings at 0.01 that nobody would even pay that.
Correct.
And yet you're putting it in the pool.
Yeah. So the goalie, I'm looking at the goalie. The goalie's rare. This was a like high tier 3 unique. His rare sold to Basilbot the other day. I mean, selling to Basilbot, there's a good indication. It sold for $13, Laird.
The rare.
His tier 3 unique was like higher than like legit cards.
Yeah.
And it's just like, no. Yeah, Tuggy, it wasn't Owusu. It was a different guy who I'm not even sure if he's like the young Ajax or the young AZ back. But Laird, multiple months ago, he was auctioning for like $80. And his limited probably auctioning too. But it's just like, the issue is like, yeah, like these DNPs are just like, I mean, that's a whole nother thing is they still have no idea how to value super rares and uniques, like no clue, which is still mind blowing to me.
Nanzo said part of the reason cards were valued so high in the past was the great cash ETH rewards you can win with the best cards. Correct. Now it's ass backwards.
Correct. Yeah, Tuggy's saying that he is Owusu's backup at Young Ajax or Young AZ.
Yeah.
Ajax. Yeah, so it's just like, so here's the same issues that have been the issues in the prize pools for the entirety of my time on the platform are the same issues that still prevail. They just added new issues to it that are blatantly obviously going to happen. They just can't figure it out. Like, they still have no idea how to value super rares. No clue. None. And it's mind-blowing, to be completely honest. Mind-blowing. They don't know how to value uniques at all. Mind-blowing. You know the issue with this? These are your highest value cards on the platform that people are trying to play. Like, Why? Like, why?
So I think I don't want to sound like I'm sticking up for them, but I'm going to slightly. Not to say that the unique and to a lesser extent super rare valuations can be improved. Obviously, they can be improved, but valuing uniques is very hard.
100%.
Like we have been in plenty of discussions where someone's like, I have this unique. I
Yeah.
think it's worth 2 ETH. And you're like, that unique is worth 0.1. And they're like, no. And so not to say that it cannot be fixed, but unique valuation is super hard.
No, I agree with that. Super and unique valuations are hard, but like, if here's the thing, if they had like a actual like breakdown and like this is how we're going to do it, like there is a way for them to sort of come up with a super evaluation of like you use limiteds and rares, and then it's an X multiplier. That's your super evaluation for players. This is your super evaluation for goalies. Something if they came out and said like this is how we're going to do it, everyone could at least be like, all right, that's fine. Like that is logical. It makes sense. Fine. Uniques, again, bit trickier. You'd have to come up with different things. But again, if they came out with it and said like, this is how we're going to do it, fine. But like, it just can't be, you just can't look at the prize pools and be like, this is what you're getting. Because it just doesn't make sense. Like it just doesn't. And that's where the disconnect is. Like if I look at something, I shouldn't be able to look at it and be like in 1 second, be like, this is horrific. Also, like what happened to them tightening up the star tier? They tightened it up and then now it's like 8,000 people big.
I don't know. I don't know what happened to it because when it changed, people were thrilled.
Correct.
And they were like, if you win a star, you're winning like a legit star player. And then all of a sudden we reverted back. Correct. I also had a theory that for the DNP rewards, they programmed it using the old system so that tier 3 was the bottom instead of tier 5. And that's why the tier 3s. But then people have shown me tier 2 have like absurd DNP rewards that are getting stuck in. That valuation wise. So I will say for super rare and unique, the values on SorareData are usually off.
No, not
like
even
we use public, like last public sale, those cards tend not to sell that way. And so it's just difficult to get it. So people look at them and they're like, man, I want a super rare worth 0.1. And the guy behind me got one for 1 ETH. And it's like, well, the 1 ETH was 5 years ago and it's really 0.005. So I appreciate people. I think people need to take those certainly with grains of salt.
Correct.
But like rare and limited tend not to be that way. They tend to be pretty liquid. And I don't actually want to look, but I'm going to look. This whole, what we were talking about before. Now, granted, this is a midweek, so who knows? But like the All-Star Rare Plus prize pool,
I mean,
I'm not counting this, but this has to be at least 50 or 60 names.
Oh, easily. It's like ridiculous. But like, I mean, here's another thing too, Laird, is like, this is something I don't understand. Like, all right, so like, this is how far down you have to go to be like, wow, that doesn't really make tons of sense. Like, there's just cards that are just like, why are we going down to like some of these guys at the bottom of the list? Like, why are they here? Like, why is this a star tier? Like, why is Zemansky and Tadic in this tier? I don't even know what position Alvaro Valles plays. I don't even know.
He's surely a goalie.
Better be a goalie, but like I have no idea.
Right.
Yeah, like, I literally couldn't have told you. Like, just like why? Why are these guys like? Why is this the same tier? You literally said you were gonna tighten up the star pool so if you actually win a star, you're gonna be happy about it. Like,
exactly.
All right. So here, Laird, you probably don't pay much attention. I won Gas 1 last week.
I did see that. Congratulations with your Kaneko unique.
With my Kaneko unique, he scored literally last touch of the game. He got an assist. He literally got subbed before they kicked off. It was great. How much do you think I got out of it total, including the ETH? The ETH was like 0.6.
So it's a tier 3 unique and a
tier 2 unique.
Tier 2 unique and a star super rare?
Yeah. Total. That I think is probably a realistic result, like number.
Like, I want to say 2 ETH, but I feel like you're going to tell me it's like 1.5.
It's like 2 ETH.
Oh, okay.
2 ETH. But I won it maybe.
Yeah, what'd you win?
Maybe 2.5.
Oh.
I won Enzo Fernandez super rare and Calabria unique. But I looked, and this is part of
Bruno Fernandez super rare?
No, Enzo Fernandez.
Enzo, excuse me.
I looked. Enzo's like 20th from the bottom on the list. He's like second from the bottom in value. Why is he 20th on the list?
Why is he in a star pool? Why are there 20?
Valid question, Laird. I'm not going to argue that because I don't know for you. Like here's the literal bottom of the tier. I'm going to give you some names that are equivalent to Jude Bellingham and Harry Kane, apparently. Yeah. So Flink Plum said he's a tier 1. I agree. He's a tier 1. I know.
I'm just gonna.
So at the bottom, here's the list. Is literally Kamavinga. Like, I mean, Kamavinga. Even when was the last time Kamavinga played?
What is this for? Which list are you looking at?
Tier 0 super rare.
Oh, this one, yeah.
For this upcoming, for the right now.
Yeah,
Kamavinga last played like before Thanksgiving. That was the last time Kamavinga played.
To be honest, I think he is much less egregious than some of the names above.
Oh, yeah, all right. So like Christian Romero, Stangs, Lenny Yoro, like Obed Nakambia, Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer's like an awful card, I think.
My God.
I need to verify that before I'm not on record yet. Yeah, Cole Palmer's not really a card you want. Like, yeah, it's probably fine, whatever. But like, why is
no? It is not a star reward. Like,
but
it's just back to what we were saying.
Yeah.
They have completely obliterated the star pool.
Correct. Guillaume Restes.
The problem is this is a ton of U23 goalies.
Yeah, Arda Güler hasn't played all season.
You would absolutely fucking love it if you won that card.
If I didn't have one, yes. If I didn't have
you would.
I have one. I don't want another one right now. But so here's the thing.
That'd be the only thing on this platform that would make you happy if you didn't have one.
Here's the thing, Laird. Arda's worth more than Enzo Fernandez by a pretty significant amount, but Enzo is well above him on the tier list, or was. So Enzo's above him on the tier list. Enzo's worth more right now. Or I'm sorry, Guler's worth more right now.
Well, depends what people are going to pay. ZM Star said the star is not the same as household name. When people say they are referring to Sorare scoring matrix star or a real star, that is what we need to know what they think. So there are very few people who are Sorare stars and not household names.
I don't know about that.
I was going to say when we had the 10 players in the star.
When it was actually a star too.
Like when they were like, stars will be stars.
Yeah.
We knew who it was. You could think of it and just be like, okay, yeah, it's Jude, Kane, Hallen, Saka, Kimmich.
Martinelli's a star tier. That card sucks.
Right.
This dude, Martinelli, is above Leroy Sané in the list. Like literally, so like he is one spot above Leroy Sané. That card is so bad in comparison. And when I say bad, I actually mean like literally Leroy Sané is worth like 50% more than him. At least. Like, why is this guy behind this other guy? Like Leroy Sané's rare. And I know you're going to say it's super rare, but like you can still tell. Leroy Sané's rare auctioned 4 days ago for 0.315. Martinelli's rare auctioned 4 days ago for 0.204.
That's actually higher than I thought.
Definitely the card that should be above the other one. Definitely, right? Definitely. Obviously, like why not?
That's higher than I thought, actually.
Yeah, I mean, Martinelli's rare. Martinelli's rare should be like 30% of what Sané's rare is.
Mm-hmm.
But like, regardless, we'll use the actual facts and actual numbers, and
This is a good point that the Premier League tournament probably has inflated Martinelli's
Yeah,
price.
so they've inflated Martinelli's price so much that he's still 50% less than Sane, and he's above him for some reason. Well, and that's another issue, I guess.
Juju said stars should be max 10 so you can name them all by heart.
Let me see where I think the star should end. Probably after Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Here, let me pull it up here. So the list, if that's the case, then it would be Bellingham. This is the, like, is it, how different is the...
Yeah, Nanza said star rewards were reduced so that star tier, like that's what happened too. So they reduced star numbers because the idea was if you wanted, it was actually going to be a marquee player, and it's not. This is actually a really big problem right now with where things are at.
So but it was also like, so we're reducing the star pool. We're going to reduce star rewards. But if you finish in a high tier 1, it's an old star.
Correct.
So it's
now it's not.
But again, it's just one humongous list.
Correct.
And it's just random lines.
Correct.
Breaking them up. So like the bottom of the star tier and the top of tier 1, they're just back-to-back players.
Correct.
They could cut this wherever.
They told us they were reducing the star numbers and the star tier was actually going to be compact.
Right.
And it's not. And
why
that's
do you think,
a massive issue.
Why do you think Kane is ahead of Bellingham in rare, but not limited or super rare?
I mean, he shouldn't be, but they're both similar. I'm not going to argue that one.
That's weird to me.
By the way, I think we've officially hit the mark where no player is above 1 ETH. No rare is above 1 ETH player. No, Mbappe, but whatever. But yes, Mbappe or Bellingham should be above Kane.
What is ETH now?
2,200.
Oh, okay. So yeah,
Bellingham floor is 1 ETH.
Yeah.
And Kane floor is 1 ETH. And nobody's worth more than them except for Mbappe. Both floors are 1 ETH.
Yep.
But I don't know. Another thing that's an issue is that they don't take it. I'm so pissed off about this though, because they literally told us they were removing stars from the tier. Like they said, we're removing stars. They're
reducing the number of star rewards.
We're reducing the number of stars, but we will keep that list compact. And it might be bigger than now than it ever was. Like, is it not bigger now than it ever was? Like, I mean, shit, Laird.
Can somebody count this? Because I don't know.
Yeah, if someone can count this for us, that'd be perfect. Count the all-star rare stars, please. If someone count that, it would be appreciated. My guess is we're looking at 75.
I didn't think it was. I thought it was closer to 50.
Yeah, someone count that.
In what world is Zion Suzuki in the same tier as Erling Haaland?
I don't know. I think the list should be cut after like TA.
Alexander Schlager and Bruno Fernandes in the same tier. So the problem is, for those of you who are like, why does this matter? The problem is that they reduce the number of star rewards. And so the opportunities even to win these guys is so much smaller. Because now it's like, oh, I have a chance to win one of 10 players. And now it's like, no, you have one in whatever somebody counted. 73 to get one of these players, and no one else is winning them.
Correct. And when instead of winning 8 tier 0 so that it pushes you upwards, you win 4. So it means the gaps are bigger and you might not get pushed as high.
Right.
Someone's got to be counting this for us. Someone's got to give us the answers. So this actually really pisses me off because this is just something they flat out told us they were going to do. 63. Thank you, Mohammed. Mohammed just said there are 63 in that list. We were told it was going to be incredibly compact, and I remember what it was like the week after they did it. There was like 10 to 15 names.
Sean, there was one week where there were 9.
Yeah.
Because I remember being like, wow, they really like tightened this up.
Correct. So I don't understand what has happened here. I don't understand why this has happened. So this is a major issue right now. That's I don't get. Another major issue is valuations of supers and uniques. And I know you can't be perfect. I get that. But like you got to be better than the shit that you were. Like they've gone like this is the problem. Would you agree super and unique have had issues for a long time, right?
Forever.
Yeah. Would you agree that there has been absolutely zero improvement to that? Because there's zero improvement.
I think the only improvement is that they are giving away more of them. Like they used to reward like no uniques.
Yeah,
and so
that's fine.
it almost made it worse because now there are more like people are winning them. And then so it opens up the scrutiny of like, oh, how are you deciding this is a tier 3?
Yeah.
And so it's almost like the improvement made it worse for everybody else. Like I was never able to like compete for a unique reward, and now like you can play cap 240 super rare and you can win a unique.
Yeah,
and
that's
great, but it's also terrible when you end up with whatever you win.
Is
like
I also Laird was just talking about the valuations. The valuations.
Yeah. You're absolutely right about that.
They've said we're going to improve the valuations and how we do it. They've not done a thing. If they have, it's not helped or it's gotten worse.
This is one of those things though that I wonder if like there are a lot of things that we want transparency on, and then we get it and it turns out we didn't really want it, or we don't really understand it. And I feel like people have been asking for reward, like value transparency for a long time. And what was it? Oh, it wasn't that. It was number of rewards. So they were told that, they told us like the reward pool will depend on how many licensed clubs there are or licensed players or how many matches, whatever it was. Like we never really knew. And everybody wanted like the exact details because they wanted to be able to check each game week. And somebody could say, hey, there are 1,329 cards in Challenger Rare. So there actually should be 68 cards instead of 64. And we don't really want that. But I think it's time where they actually showed us like, how are you valuing these cards?
No, I actually disagree with you. I think that got better.
That got better. I agree.
When they were transparent about it, it improved and got better. Like they used to just like, there'd be like 80 teams in midweek, and then you'd have like 20 teams in midweek, and the week with 20 teams had double the rewards. That made no sense. Now every weekend, I know who's going to have this amount of rewards. Every week's going to have this amount. Sometimes they'll go up or down a little bit, but it makes logical sense. I have no complaints about that. I would love to have a explanation how they are valuing stuff. Also, like, are you still of the belief that they're like they can't do a better job with minimal more effort? Because I still am of the belief that they can improve 90% of the issues with like a very minimal effort load. You in the past have argued with me on this and said that it's not as easy as I think it is, but I think it's very easy to make improvements.
That's different. I said it was very easy, not easy to fix it, but surely they can improve it with minimal effort.
Well, I view improving it as fixing it, right? Like to me, it's impossible to make it perfect. There's no way you can make it perfect, but you can make it. You can improve it. Like I think you can make a 90% improvement with very minimal effort.
Surely, more effort to anything will make it an improvement.
Yeah, but I'm saying like I don't think you need that much effort to improve it by a significant amount.
I think your level of minimal is not actually minimal.
You don't think like 1 to 2 people were looking at the rewards pools and figuring stuff out you don't think that's minimal for a $4 billion company?
They're not worth $4 billion, but
sorry, 3.3 billion, Laird.
I mean, if they were raising money today.
Hey, I'm going off the valuation of the last raise, Laird. That's all I got for you.
Oh, do you sell cards at valuations from 2 years ago?
I would love to. If anyone wants to pay me on that valuation, I'm available. I'm available. I can tell you exactly what my gallery was worth about a year ago, and you can come on down.
Yeah. No, I think that we don't know what they do, and in terms of figuring out tiers and valuations and all of that. And I just think that telling us a little bit, I don't need the formula, same as the reward, figuring out how many rewards there are in each contest. Like, we don't need the formula. They told us they were going to improve it. They told us kind of what the parameters were, and we saw an improvement.
We did. There was an improvement. There was.
Yes. So now, other than somebody brought this, Sorare Josh, yeah, except these random niche Asia midweeks that are giving out hundreds of cards. But that almost, I don't want to say it's better because now we're just flooding the market with more Asia cards. But anyway, but I think we're getting to a point on super rare, and I don't want to put unique in this bracket because it just applies to so few people, but I will, that the valuations are so wild that it would just make it easier for all of us if they were like, this is what we look at. And if the feedback is if that's the best we can do, okay. But it's so blurred in terms of how they get to this list. And we don't know if they're manually adjusting or not. We don't know if they're using any limited scarcity data to help with super rare value. Like, we don't know. And I feel like we're getting to a point now where the numbers are so off that we should at least get some look into how they're doing this.
Yeah. So KB brought this up. I'm going to bring this up because I've heard this before. I think it's a horrendous take. I understand it, but I think it's horrendous. And I'll explain why.
Which one?
All these valid concerns and complaints come from the mindset and premise that Sorare exists for you to make money. Maybe we have to accept and get rid of that idea that's more game than anything. We are not there's someone's made this point before, and I think that this is the viable answer. We're not like, I forget what the term was. We're customers, right? We are customers for this product. The product is there for us to be able to win money, rewards, prizes, cards, whatever. If nobody is happy with what is being won, rewarded, given, yada, 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 they are failing their customers. They're failing their customers. Their customers are not going to be interested. Therefore, their customers are not going to be there. I think it goes down to like the product is not a collector's piece to a majority of people. A majority of people are not here for a collector's game, a collector's thing. Would you agree? Most people. There's some. Most people are not here for a collector's game. Most people are not here to lose shitloads of money. Would you agree most people are not looking to lose shitloads of money?
I think people are here not to lose money. Yes.
Correct. So the idea is like some people should lose money. Some people should win money. And it is a game of skill and luck that is being played by people trying to win cards, win rewards, win money, win all that stuff. And the issue is that there's a lot of people that have invested a significant amount. Raul lost 20K. I can tell you what can be worse than that, Raul, because that definitely that number could be a lot higher, and it can definitely get a lot higher going forward. But yeah, so like it's one of those things. I just think that I think they have a disconnect from the community on like what the product actually is. Like we've said from the beginning, and I still say this, the product is a game that you're playing to win things. That's the product. That is by and large the product. Yes, some people are here because they want to have a fun collection. Yes, some people are here because of the collector's game. Fling Flung said they don't understand what their product is. I think that is part of the case. They do not understand fully what their product is. Their product is a game that is to be played to win things. To majority of the customers that are there. It would be like if people went to McDonald's and they're like, we don't serve cheeseburger anymore, here's tofu. 10% of the people might like tofu. They might be like, sure, my fat ass isn't going to go there. I'm going to stroll on down to Wendy's and pick up my my cheeseburger and call it a day. So I just think that they have a misconception what their game is. They have a disconnect on what the issues are. They like the fact that we have. I have a question for you, Laird. Based on what you've seen, do you think they understand what we think the problem is?
With what? Like with the reward tiers?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
No.
And do you think that's a problem?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's, to me, the biggest issue is I don't think that they understand what the customer's problem is, and it's very frustrating because we're pretty. I think the issues have been risen pretty clearly. What the issues are, right?
I think the reward stuff is the biggest one. So I want to go back to, because there are a couple comments here in the chat, but something that is kind of lost in this is that like people say they, whether you're here to like make money or here to, well, I'll put it that, whether you're here to make money or like play a game or whatever it is, the value of what you win, whether it's thresholds or cards, is what determines whether you're doing well in the game or not. Like that's the only way you can tell if you're playing this game well. And like you wouldn't play a game if I told you, hey, play this fantasy sports game and in a year, there's no way for you to know if you're winning or losing.
Yeah.
Like we fundamentally play any game to win it.
Yeah.
And there are different ways that you can do that and whatnot. And so that's why there's such an emphasis on money. And I realize that sounds weird coming from me, from somebody who said like a bunch like, oh, this is just for fun and don't worry about all this money you're losing. But like fundamentally, if what you're winning is not as valuable as what you spent to compete, you're losing. And this one coming from David, he said, no one's going to create an account and put $500 that they know in 3 months it'll be worth 200.
Correct.
The problem is like, we don't know that. Like you're putting in 500 with the possibility that it's worth 1,500 in 3 months.
The expectation that it could be worth 1,500.
Sure.
And not that it will, but it could be.
But it's also not a will be worth 200.
Correct.
With the way prices are going, it's more likely because also if you're starting, you're not going to be as good at the game. Like we know that.
Correct.
And so I think like I actually am like, I'll push back on people who say, my cards, I bought my cards for this and now they're worth nothing or less. And it's like, what have you won with those cards? Like, that's the point of the game, to like win things from your cards.
Correct.
It's not like, I think fundamentally, and I think Sorare think this, I don't know for sure, but I think they look at you buy the cards and your ROI is what you win from those cards, not from what you can sell your cards for in the future. Like you can sell them, own your game and do whatever you want with them. But I think fundamentally, they always look at it as what you win from the game is how you make returns on your cards.
Correct.
And unfortunately, we are at a point now where what you can win in the game card-wise is worth much less than what we probably bought our cards for. And that's why everybody goes to thresholds.
Correct. Yeah. I think that's pretty viable.
That was a rant and a half. I don't even know what I meant to say.
Yeah, it's a very, and like, look, things could turn around. They could get up, but like, I don't care as much about some things that cost. Like, I can't control the price of ETH. I can't do that, right? I can't control the excitement for NFTs. I can't do that. What I can do, and what I think Sorare can do, is control the things that they can control. I mean, I've told you, like, when I came on the platform, I've put in an amount of money that I would like to not lose, an amount that if I do lose, that's not going to impact my life. But I obviously have hopes that this makes me lots of money or a good amount of money. That's why I came into the platform. But I can't control any of that per se. The only things I can control are, if I was a trader, I could control how good of a job I do trading. Or as someone who plays SO5 and takes it very seriously, I can control how well I do at that. Those are the things I can control.
Mm-hmm.
I think as a trader, I'm not that great. I don't try to be a trader. I'm not the best at it. It's just not really something I try to do. As an SO5 player, I think I'm very good. I think there's not many that are better than me. Those are the things I can control. I think Sorare can control. They can't really control how the marketing works. Like, yeah, sure, they might fail at marketing or succeed at marketing, and you have to do it, and you have to hope that you can do it. But things that they can control the rewards pools. That's something that they can control and do correctly. That's something they can maintain and handle. They can control the. I will actually give them credit on this one. They can control the level of communication. They've done a very good job, I would say, communicating the last 6 months on stuff.
Totally agree.
That was something that as a community,
on the football side.
Well,
you could just keep talking. Don't even.
Yeah, you told me this is a football show. I won't go into.
You're right.
The other sports. Well, I mean, I would argue with you. They've communicated well on baseball. They've communicated we're not going to give a shit and do anything, and they've not given a shit and done anything. So I would argue that is communication, whether it's what you want or not.
Fair.
But yeah, so like they said, we as a community, by and large, said that, hey guys, we need better communication and more communication about what you guys are doing. They have done a much better job about that the last 6 months. Like I've seen a lot of weekly updates, a lot of Medium posts, lots of it. Even if they're not really doing much, they have updated stuff and said we're working towards this, and that's been great.
It's a significant improvement.
Yeah, significant improvement. Whoever's in charge of that, it's probably Dan. Dan, if you're listening, great job. If it's not you, let whoever know. Great job. Fantastic. I think it's been really good. I think that the improvement there has been great. I've seen so many freaking posts and tweets and comments. We're going to improve the prize pools, guys. We're going to make it better. We're going to make them make more sense. And then it just does not happen. And it just doesn't make sense to me because it's something you can control. Like that is something you can handle and maintain properly. And it did happen for like that 2 weeks or whatever. Like they tightened up and it made more sense.
So that's what I was going to say. That almost made it worse.
Correct.
Because they improved it and we were like, you did
Great
it.
job, guys. Way to go. And then now we have 70 players in the star tier pool and they told us they were going to make it compact. And I just don't understand. I don't understand. Like, why did you say it was going to get compacted and then like it did, and now it's not again? Like, why did it expand? Why? Why did it happen?
So I think when they did, no, that's not right. I was going to say, I think when they did it, there was only Europe happening. And so like there weren't that many players in the pool that they could choose from. But America and Asia cards probably aren't getting in a true star pool anymore.
I think the only person in the star pool right now is Gil.
No, Messi.
And Messi. Those are probably the only two people in the star pool. Well, I think I have an idea of what probably happen. If I had I'm trying to think about it. Yeah, so Glenn just asked
this question. Yeah, if you got the keys tomorrow, what are the 3 biggest changes you think?
So first of all, I'm going to give a hot take that a lot of people aren't going to like, and this isn't something
make MLB the priority.
Yes, of course, but this is an actual hot take, and it's not necessarily one of the 3 things that I would change per se. But a lot of people have made comments about this, and I want to address it. Them doing the MLB and NBA was 100% a decision they should have made. Obviously, it has not been successful, but it was 100% a risk they had to take because I think in order to get to like that upper echelon massive company they were trying to do, they had to get these other sports. And by doing so, it was logical decision they had to do that had to go for. So first thing, if I was in charge, what I would do is I would fix the prize pools. I would make the prize pools make logical sense. I would have them make sense for all the competitions. I'd make sure at least the top ends are correctly done as best as they could be. I would remove guys that should be removed, that are like misvalued at certain moments. Like another thing that misvalued stuff and has caused issues recently, the celebration cards are causing issues because the celebration cards are going for a lot more than the other cards, which are bloating those values up for a couple weeks, which is why, like, that's why Enzo was as high as he was, because he had a celebration card that got heavily bid on and moved upwards. But anyway, that's something that I would have done. I would not advertise for Sorare MLB during MLS games. That's something I wouldn't do. Although I think that was like a contractual thing and a mandatory thing. So like realistically, I think the biggest thing that they can control, that they can address, is the rewards pool. I don't think they've done an effective job of marketing. But that's my opinion. I'm not a marketing expert. So I can't comment on that, but like I would have.
I'm just pulling up this is the Enzo chart, and like these are the celebration cards.
Yeah, so like that completely,
like they're clearly such outliers.
So what I would do in that situation is I'd remove Enzo from rewards for like a week or two. Or if you're rewarding him, you need to reward him a celebration card, because that's what you're giving here. Like those prices were Enzo celebration card, but then you don't reward an Enzo celebration card, that's an issue.
It's like that was like a double boost too, because it's the Enzo celebration card and a new season Premier League card. So like the new seasons are already more than the old ones, and you're putting it as a higher collection.
Correct. So yeah, like it's one of those things, like, guys, I think also a lot of people, if you go on Twitter and you go on different platforms and you see what people are complaining about, people complain about a lot of things that they don't know shit about. Like, I'm not a marketing expert. I'm not going to give comments on how they should do their marketing and how they should go about that. What I am an expert on is fantasy games and prizes and rewards, because I literally have done that for a decade. So I have a lot of experience in that aspect of life. Like, I'm literally an expert on very few things, but those things I'm expert on, I'm an expert on because I spent a shitload of time on it. I'm an expert at daily fantasy sports. I'm an expert on Penn State sports. I'm an expert on teen rom-com dramas. Very good at those. I know those a lot. I'm a reality TV show expert. I know those well. And I know, like I said, daily fantasy sports. I know fantasy games, rewards, stuff like that. If it's something like that, I have a lot of confidence giving my opinion, because I have literally spent loads of time in my life on those things.
Sure.
But I'm not going to comment on like fundraising from the site. I don't know how to do that. I've never done that. I'm not going to give my opinion on going out and doing like community manager stuff that like Dan does for the most part, because I don't know how to do, or I guess Dan doesn't really do that anymore. I'm not, because I do know something with event planning and stuff. I know how to do some of that stuff. So like I can comment on that, but there's stuff that I'm comfortable commenting on and talking about, which is basically reward pools, how the fantasy game should work. I think I will say, in terms of the fantasy game, I think the Matrix is really good. I think the Matrix is fantastic. There's obviously some things you would probably do slightly differently. Like BCMs are annoying to everyone, the penalty situations, some random stuff. But overall, the Matrix is pretty damn good. Like, you're not really going to see a better Matrix. In a game like football and basketball and other stuff, it's very easy to do Matrixes. Soccer is very difficult to do a Matrix for properly. And I think Sorare has done a better job than anyone I've ever seen with a soccer Matrix. And their football and baseball matrix, or their basketball and baseball matrices, are fine too.
It's a pretty simple game.
They're pretty simple games. But yeah, so like I have no real complaints about their soccer matrix. But so I'm not going to give like a 3 what I would do, but there's one thing I would do, and I feel pretty confident I could do a pretty good job at it.
But like rewards fundamental, like that's the one that comes immediately to mind. Yeah.
The fantasy aspect and rewards are like 90% of the platform, which we have established. Like 90% of the platform is that. The collections are a small percentage. The fun of that stuff is a small percentage. The collectors are small percentages as well. 90% of the platform is the fantasy game and the rewards that come with it. And that 90%, I feel damn confident I would do a very good job with.
A bunch of people are talking about celebration cards as rewards. I just wanted to clarify something, because Scosmo said they said that there might be And they didn't say that there might be. They said they didn't say they wouldn't be, which I think is different.
Correct. Did they? I don't know if they did. Or can you even find that out?
I just haven't seen any. So I think it's as simple as that. Sean, is the top prize in Survivor big enough?
Big enough for what? Big enough for playing the game, or big enough for like what, like for the actual reward? So I can give a good comment on this. So I would not play Survivor. If they called me and asked me to play Survivor, I would probably not do it for $1 million prize pool.
I believe that.
If they called me and asked me to play Big Brother with a $500,000 prize pool, I'd be there in a second.
You'd do it for free.
On Big Brother in a second. I'd be there. I'd be like, I'd love every second of it. It'd be great. You guys could all watch me on live feeds. So favorite rom-com? Are we talking about TV show or movie, Germ? Got to be specific on this one. I actually, Tuggy asked about the Real Housewives. I actually don't watch that. I call it the Desperate Housewives series because my wife watches it and she always gets upset about it. I used to watch Below Deck a lot, but I don't watch that as much anymore.
I've heard really good things about that show.
Yeah, the challenge, Survivor, Big Brother are more my jams. And then I do watch other stuff as well, but like those are my jams. Like Big Brother, I'm very confident I could be pretty decent at.
What do you consider a TV rom-com?
Well, again, you have different, like, are we talking about like teenage like rom-com? Because like One Tree Hill was great, The OC was great. I like
comedy lights. I think that's a different. I think that's a different genre.
Yeah, it's like a teen dramedy or whatever.
Yeah. Dawson's Creek.
Yeah, Dawson's Creek. I enjoyed Dawson's Creek. I never really finished the Gilmore Girls. I definitely watched One Tree Hill a couple times, and there's like 300 episodes.
I think One Tree Hill was I'm a little too old for One Tree Hill, but I watched Dawson's Creek.
Slightly, yeah. You're probably slightly. Dawson's Creek is probably more in your window.
Yeah. You know what show was great that I watched? It was probably the same time as Dawson's Creek. Maybe it was a little earlier. Was Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I did not watch Buffy. That's a little too young for me. I'll be honest. I didn't watch teen dramedies until later in life. So Tobias said, One Tree Hill dropped off a lot. Every season of like almost every show drops to some extent. It's just a matter of like what. So Freaks and Geeks, I was probably too young for, I think. So
yeah, I didn't watch that one either.
So in college, my one roommate, his girlfriend watched. So we had like a suite. So it was like 4 bedrooms in one little like thing, and then 2 bathrooms. So the one bedroom, the one guy had a girlfriend, and she literally just played One Tree Hill all day. She had like all the seasons, and literally it would just be on in their room 24/7. So we used to laugh. It would just be funny. Like you just walk in there and you just not come out for 3 hours.
You just hear.
So anyways, so I never really watched it fully until after college, and then I watched it all. And actually, so when I went to, so my first job out of college was working for the junior hockey team. Hated it. It was so awful. And we used to not get time off except like during the season, you just work like 80 hours a week, and it was terrible. Friday Night Lights was great, Tobias. I liked that a lot. I actually think some of the later seasons had some moments as well. But obviously the beginning seasons were great. So anyways, my buddy used to make fun of me because I watched One Tree Hill. He's like, how? And he's like, what are your thoughts on the OC? I'm like, I've never watched the OC. He's like, how have you never watched the OC, but you watch One Tree Hill? OC is just so much better. And I was like, I've just never watched it. So he literally bought me the
DVD pack
box set of the OC. It was like huge. And I think there's 4 seasons, like 100 episodes. So we're talking like, I don't know, 45 minutes an episode. So I don't know, like 60 to 80 hours of episodes. So they gave us the week off from Christmas to New Year's. I watched like 12 hours a day of the OC and watched the entire series in a week. My friends were like, hey, you want to go do something? I'm like, dude, I got like 12 episodes of the OC to watch today. I don't have time.
I don't have time. Ian was asking, what strategy is this? I feel like after an hour and 10 minutes, we were able to go off topic.
We were on topic for a good chunk of the day.
Alex, the Claire Danes, Jared Leto was My So-Called Life. That was another one I didn't watch. That was probably, I don't know when that came out, but I feel like that was definitely on when
Laird,
I
what's your preferred TV show list?
So, but talking about Friday Night Lights, I don't feel like Friday Night Lights is in that same category.
It's not, but is.
Yeah, you're right. Friday Night Lights is literally like a top 3 show for me, like ever.
Yes, absolutely love Friday Night Lights. I've watched a lot of different like interviews and podcasts afterwards. Did you know that that Jason Street and someone, I forget who it was, have done a podcast rewatching it?
No.
Yeah, let me see who it is. Yeah, so
it's on The Ringer. It seems like something what's his name would do.
I love, he's actually into fantasy sports and sports to some extent. I actually, so like one of my favorite episodes of Friday Night Lights was actually the episode. This is gonna be a spoiler, so I'm gonna have the Friday.
Yeah,
Night
don't even.
What?
Don't even.
Do you know what it is?
No, but we can talk about it after. I really don't want this to be a place where people have to worry about that.
Yeah, I think Zach Gilford. Yeah, so Saracen and Jason Street have done a podcast with like a rewatch. Actually, every one of these shows have pretty much done a rewatch.
Like a whole series?
They're rewatch like an episode a week.
Wow.
Yeah. They're probably deep into it. Like the One Tree Hill, so all 3 of the main girls have done a podcast and they're rewatching every episode. So they're going to have like 6 years worth of content.
Yeah, they're going to be 100 years old when it's finally over. Anyway. All right, since I guess apparently we're too off topic for a lot of people here.
We are.
Who have spent an hour and 15 minutes with us. So thank you everybody for coming. If you could please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to Quinny. I don't think, man, we're going to have to do a whole show on TV shows now.
I'm down. Let's do that.
I know you're down. Yeah.
Let's do that.
Yeah. All right. We'll do that. But yeah, thank you everybody for joining us. Tomorrow, I have no idea what the plan is for the rest of the week. I feel like I got back from France like 5 minutes ago, even though it's been 3 days. So yeah, we'll see. Stay tuned. Thanks, everyone.